Tim Murphy of Pennsylvania is the chairman of the Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee. Thanks so much for coming in. Your full committee is going to be holding hearings next week on these glitches, whatever they're called, the problems of the website. But when you hear that even some supporters of the overall program are saying maybe delay the penalty for the individual mandate, that part of the program, what do you say? When you hear that kind of talk?
Well, it's come down to the point we're going to fine people for not buying a product that they can't buy. Is a serious issue. I've been holding a series of hearings since the beginning of this year, asking about the cost, the rate shock, are they ready for the website, are businesses ready, are the navigators trained, is the IRS ready? Every time I've had someone before my subcommittee, they said, don't worry, everything is fine. And it's like the scene with Kevin Bacon in Animal House, all is well, remain calm, while people are struggling around them. They're not ready, and they have not been upfront with us about all these things. Either they don't know, or they're willfully not telling us.
Well, do you think they knew that the website wasn't really ready yet, and they went ahead and did it anyhow?
They told us it was ready. They told us they were good to go. They told us the navigators were ready and things would be fine. It appears that none of that has been ready. My question is, who knew this? Who made the decisions to change or to make
Should heads roll?
I think somewhere along the line you have to find out who knew what and when did they know it.
Well, Kathleen Sebelius is the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Well, she has to answer some questions for us. We've asked her to come before the committee. So far, she's declined. The chairman and others we've asked her to come back again. I think that's extremely important. This is $400+ million just for a website.
It's already cost $400 million?
Right.
Because originally it was supposed to be a lot less.
It was. It was supposed to be much less. I mean, $94 million started off going to this Canadian company, CGI, and that probably has expanded, and other companies as well. So with the data hubs and other elements, they're just not ready. It's just obvious facts. They're not ready.
Now, when you have this hearing next week, I assume somebody from the administration will appear and testify, but you're saying nobody has agreed yet, and you've invited them, including Kathleen Sebelius, to come?
We hope they do. I mean, clearly someone had to know some things, whether it's people from CMS, such as Marilyn Tavenner. We've had other people for us, Gary Cohen, other people who knew parts of this, but it seems to be a lot of finger pointing without those fingers going directly at someone who made decisions.
What you're suggesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Congressman, is that the administration deliberately misled the American people in the months leading up to the launch, that when they said everything was fine, everything was ready, you say they knew it wasn't ready.
Well, either they didn't know, which makes them responsible, or they knew and they were trying to say, well, let's hope it gets ready by the time things are there. But we were like 2 weeks before, for example, the navigator's supposed to start, and they said everything's fine with them, even though the training had been delayed and cut short, et cetera. So what I see here, Wolf, is a whole pattern of them repeatedly telling us things are fine on multiple levels. And on those, they just weren't ready across the board.
Now, they initially said, you know what, there were the overwhelming response. They got many more people trying to log in than they anticipated. That was the result. That caused the bumpy rollout. If you will
on their own website, it's much better. So some states do not have this problem, so it's possible to do this. But the second wave of what's happening, too, is the actual cost. When I hear from people that they've gone, in order to keep a plan that's close in price, they've gone from a $1,000 deductible to a $10,000 deductible. Those are other concerns that are going to come out, too. We're going to need to know, once they get there, what is the cost.
Now, you've been an opponent of Obamacare from the beginning, right?
I'm a proponent of health care reform, and I've worked on health care reform myself as a state senator and a federal congressman. But what happens is there's a lot of problems inherent in this, in the way it was done.
So are you trying to fix it or get rid of it?
Well, it's sort of like the car. At some point, you say that it needs such a major overhaul. You say this has got to be retooled from the beginning. There's a lot of things I absolutely support in this, such as making sure someone who is ill gets health insurance or someone who is younger maintains it. There's no reason to cut those people out. But the way this has been done with this massive control of it, I think is going to be very costly and it's going to get in the way of health care.
And you voted for the legislation the other day to bring the government back into operation.
Yes.
You were among the minority of Republicans who voted for that.
I wanted to get back to regular order. I wanted to get these hearings going and see what's going on.
We'll see what happens at the hearings. We'll stay in close touch with you. Thanks, Congressman, very much for joining us. Tim Murphy is the Republican congressman from Pennsylvania. By the way, we've repeatedly invited the Health and Human Services Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, to join us here in the Situation Room. So far, she's declined, but of course, she has an open invitation to join us whenever she's ready. Coming up, new information about the two murderers who were mistakenly freed. Get this, freed from a Florida prison. We have details of how it all went down. Plus, a huge asteroid whizzes past Earth, but instead of just letting it fly by, what if we could capture it instead? Stand by. You're in the Situation.
No matter matter how busy your morning, you can always do something better for yourself. And better is so easy with Benefiber. Fiber that's taste-free, grit-free, and dissolves completely, so you can feel free to add it to anything.